everyone, this is Carissa back here with Elaine. So today in our project analysis series, we're going to share
Hudson Place.
Okay, so today we will divide this video into two parts. First part will be some of the concerns that a lot of buyers have, okay, which is things that a lot of people tell you that Hudson Place can buy.
Yep.
But today we want to share whether are these reasons really true.
The true reasons to why we should be looking into Hudson Place.
Yes.
So we're going to address all these concerns in our part 1 of the video today.
Yes.
Then in our part 2 of the video, we will come back to where we always will be sharing the sweet spot units and then also the floor plan analysis.
Correct.
Okay, so let's get started with the part 1 of our video, which is concerns. Because Hudson Place, one of the real main concern will be, no MRT.
Yeah. I think a lot of buyers are thinking, no MRT. I think even you are watching video, you are thinking, no MRT can buy or not.
Because we are all so spoiled, right?
Yes.
For the connectivity. And then for the past launches, actually most of them are actually either is integrated mixed development or really next to MRT.
Correct.
So today in Hudson Place, one of the concern is that no MRT, right? That's part 1. Number 2, are they going to really sell
cheap?
Yeah, just because in a location where maybe there's no MRT, but more importantly, because in the near vicinity, there's another new land that was bidded.
Dover.
So, yes, the Dover land bid. So because of the Dover land bid, I'm sure many of you will have heard of that. And probably you have got people telling you that, because of the Dover land bid, Hudson is going to sell cheap because the land price is cheaper. So is this really true? So we're going to touch on to that later on.
Okay, so if you're watching this video, please carry on to watch on because we are going to share very important and key points, things that you need to take note if you are really thinking of buying Hudson Place.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we'll also be talking about a little bit on the location and site plan, but the more of the project information will be in our part 2 video.
Yes.
Okay, so just a quick one so that you do understand where Hudson Place and what is it exactly about. All right, so the project name is called Hudson Place Residences, and then it's actually at Media Circle, the actual location, right? And 99 years leasehold, the vacant possession is expected to be in 2029. Yes. Total is 327 units, inclusive of car park lots is actually just 50% of the car park lots.
Yes, correct.
Okay?
Which is very common in this area.
And especially because, in this area, the car park percentage is actually lower.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so this for Hudson Place project information. So now we come to the actual important part of the video content today, not near MRT. And then, but as someone who will want to sell with Hudson Place, you will be definitely sharing that, but it's okay, there's no MRT, we have got shuttle bus, and then brings you to the MRT at doorstep. And then probably you don't even have to walk or anything because of the shuttle bus, right? But the main concern is that if today I'm buying into Hudson Place for a rental purpose, rental investment, and especially in Hudson Place because of the location, a lot of us will be looking into rental investment.
Yep.
So how is it going to affect my rental?
If I'm not near MRT.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And if my rental is affected, that will also means that the growth of the price growth of the development will be affected as well.
Yes.
Right? Plus, another point is that, the thing is that if there is developments nearby me, but at a much cheaper price, and yet they are nearer to MRT, so how does that affect me?
They are cheaper.
Yet they are cheaper, correct?
Yep.
So I'm buying something which is not near MRT, but because it's a new development, my price is definitely higher.
Yeah.
As compared to the resale vicinity, right? They are actually nearer to MRT and yet cheaper.
Yes.
So how is it going to affect me as a homeowner in Hudson Place?
I think this is a true concern,
Definitely.
for a lot of buyers thinking. So today we will really address this, and then we will share some case study that how actually some other projects that is similar, in our to Hudson Place, how they actually perform.
So we go into this comparison. All right, this is actually Hudson Place, TOP 2029 expected. And today we are looking at average pricing about 2,005 per square foot. They have indicative prices already. Later we're going to share a little bit on that as well. So the average estimated is about 2,500 per square foot, right? But we want to also compare. So a development that is transacted in today's market in the terms of resale development, much lower per square foot.
20 years difference lah.
Yeah, if you see over here, the transaction in 2025 is at 1958.
Today.
Whereas if I'm buying to Hudson, it's at 25.
Yep.
So I'm actually buying about $500 more expensive as
Exactly.
compared to the nearby vicinity.
And yet this is near to MRT.
Yes, correct. So One North residence, right, is actually in the middle of One North MRT and Buona Vista MRT. Is about approximately walking distance about 7 to 10 minutes. So it's definitely walkable to MRT station.
Yes.
So we want to understand this comparison. And just to take note that the TOP date, right, is also about 20 years apart, just now you mentioned.
Yeah.
So again, we want to use case study to see whether is this going to be really affecting Hudson Place as an owner.
Okay. So next we will actually share this case study in Bukit Merah. Okay, so Tanglin Regency, also TOP in 1998 versus Principal Garden, that TOP in 2019. That is a 21 years age difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tanglin Regency very close to MRT station, probably about 7 to 10 minutes walk. But where Principal Garden is far away from MRT station. Alright. So next we want to use this case study to really see that if in this comparison, will it really affect based on the closeness to MRT station and not close to MRT station.
So
as
the
well.
reason for choosing these two developments is number one, definitely the age gap, because we have noted that One North residence and Hudson Place is at about 20 years. Yeah. So that's why Tanglin Regency and Principal Garden, it also share the same characteristics about 20 years apart.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
And the older development is Tanglin Regency near to MRT. So Principal Garden will be equivalent to Hudson Place, which is a newer development, but
not near to MRT.
Not near MRT. Yes. Okay. So then we examine the rental rates for Tanglin Regency and Principal Garden. For a 2-bedroom in Tanglin Regency, we can see that the per square foot price rental for 2-bedroom is about $4.92. $4.92.
About $5.
About $5, right? And then for a 3-bedroom, it's about $4.50. Okay, so this is for Tanglin Regency.
Yep.
But if you look at Principal Garden, we can see that the per square foot in terms of the rental is definitely much higher.
About 20% higher,
Yes,
actually.
correct. So it's 20% higher.
So why near to MRT station and yet they can demand higher rental? That puts us in perspective. Is MRT really something that tenants look for?
Is this the only characteristics or the only requirement that tenant will be looking for in terms of rental?
Yep.
Right? So this has actually clearly shown that, right, in terms of rentability, is definitely, yes, MRT may be one of the requirements, but it's not the one and only, or it's not the utmost important criteria in this case, because it has shown and proven that for Tanglin Regency, even though it's near to MRT station, but because number one, it could be due to the age of the property, right? And also the overall development, how it actually, the kind of a development that is actually provide. Yeah. So all this will be also part of the requirement of how tenants look for their rental place.
Exactly.
So we have seen that in the comparison, how Tanglin Regency and Principal Garden perform. Now we're going to look into the next part. That is how the rental affects the growth, affects the price of the property.
I think this is very important because a lot of people will look at rental versus growth, etc. Right? So which is what we're going to use in this case study. If we look at in 2015, Tanglin Regency is going at 1164 PSF and Principal Garden launched at 1485 PSF at the lowest point. Okay, so in fast forward today, 2026, Tanglin Regency actually is going at about 17 and Principal Garden at 26.
Close to 27.
Yeah, so that means if we look back at the point that they buy in, is about a 27.5% gap. That means the Principal Garden actually buy 27.5% higher.
Which also means to say, in the year of 2015, if I'm a buyer at that point of time looking into Bukit Merah area, I have a choice whether I want to buy Tanglin Regency, which is close to even 30% cheaper and is near MRT station, right? Something that we all would want to have. And then versus Principal Garden, which is a new development at 30% higher price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you look at the growth today, it's at 81% for Principal Garden and 53.5% for Tanglin Regency. This actually clearly shows us that rental in this area will affect the growth.
Yep. Not saying that Tanglin Regency don't appreciate, it does appreciate as well, and it's actually at a very decent rate. Just that Principal Garden actually appreciates much more for the fact that it is actually 30% higher in terms of the purchase price, but yet it can actually achieve a growth much higher than Tanglin. Bringing this case study back into One North Residences and Hudson Place, all right, we can see that in today's market, 2026, One North Residences is transacting at 1,009 per square foot price, 1,009 each.
Yes.
Okay. Whereby Hudson Place, right, the average pricing is about 2,004 to 2,005.
Exactly.
And if you look at this, interestingly, they have the same gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which is about 20% gap, close to 30%.
Yes.
So that will means to say, if today you are getting Hudson Place at a very similar gap as to what Principal Garden has transacted previously, is actually a very safe price point for you to enter into Hudson Place, which is the average pricing of 24 to 25-ish per square foot. Because the earlier case study has clearly shown that with even a 30% higher in terms of price, because of the high rental yield, you are able to achieve a much higher growth.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if let's say today's gap for Hudson Place and One North Residences far exceeds maybe 30%, then it is something that you may want to reconsider.
Can we still buy actually? I think that's the main point.
Right. So this is how we have examined in terms of the rentability with or without MRT station and how the rental affects the growth. And looking into the price gap in terms of today's new home and its nearby vicinity resale pricing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next we're going to address this very, very important point, which is a lot of agents might be telling you or telling us that, Hudson can buy because the same developer actually bidded very high for another land nearby. So is this a real reason why you can actually buy into Hudson? When, if you look at this map over here, right, Hudson was actually bidded at 1036 PSF. Bloomsbury was at 1191 PSF, selling at an average of 24. Right? 24 PSF, right? So if we look at Dover today, is at 1556. So that means it's $500 more. Does that mean that it's a direct equation that they will sell at $500 more and then that is the reason why you can buy into Hudson? I think a lot of agents would share this with you, or if you are thinking about this.
So for example, Hudson Place, if let's say the per square foot is about 2,005 per square foot right now, average price. So does it mean that for Dover, right, it's going to start at $3,000 per square foot? It's like a direct equation of $500 more.
Exactly.
So this is what we want to understand.
Yes.
Okay. So again, before that, this is actually the article that shown that 4C and Qingjian, which is the same developer as Hudson Place and Bloomsbury, they actually bought this piece of land at 1556 per square foot per plot ratio.
Yep.
Okay. So now the next thing is that again, we want to use case study to show that, like what you have mentioned, does the land bid price equates to the selling price?
Yep.
Yeah. So for this, right, we are using Jadescape and Affinity at Serangoon. Jadescape land price was bought at 791 per square foot per plot ratio, but the average launch price was 1,007 per square foot.
Yep.
Right? But Affinity
on the contrary,
land price, was actually bought higher at 835 per square foot PPR. But on the contrary, like what you mentioned, the average launch price was just at 1,005-ish, which is actually slightly lower than Jadescape average price.
Yes, this is the point we want to bring across to you. When we look at a product, right, like for example, Jadescape, why developers are able to sell at a much higher price back then for Jadescape was also because during that period of time, in Jadescape area, there is no supply.
No new supply.
Exactly. All were older developments, etc. So Jadescape has that demand and yet no supply. So that actually really they can sell much, much higher as compared to Affinity when during that period of time, we have Florence, they have Riverfront, they have a lot of projects. Yes, gardens. Just direct competitor is gardens,
correct.
right? Yeah, so in that area, they have a lot of supply.
New home supply.
Correct.
That's why developer has to be more price sensitive.
Exactly.
So that's the reason why even though the land was bidded at much higher price, it does not necessarily mean that they're going to launch at a much higher price. So this is something that we want to be really looking into. So definitely, so now coming back into just now what we are comparing, Dover and Hudson. All right. Yes, no doubt that Dover land price was actually $500 more expensive. Yeah, but it may not necessarily means that, right, their starting price is going to be from 3,000 per square foot onwards.
Yeah, it's not a direct add-on lah. Yeah,
Yes,
so
it's
if
not
you
like a
buy,
direct add-on.
I buy $500 more. Hudson Place is launching at 2005. That means Dover is confirmed going to sell at 3,000. Yes,
Because all developer, again, like what we have always shared in our analysis video, they have their own pricing strategy.
exactly.
And in order to make the development more attractive, they definitely have to start at a very attractive indicative price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it will not necessarily means that they will be starting from $3,000 per square foot.
Because developer, when they sell any product, right, they also need to hit a minimum amount in order for them to continue loan with the bank and then continue building, etc. I think about 30%, right? So that means if you are going to go straight to 3,000, who is going to buy? Correct? Yeah. So
The demand may not be as strong
exactly.
already.
So that is also the reason why developers, like you said, will give very attractive starting price for the initial launch. In order for the project to move first.
Correct. So then if we were to compare Hudson and Dover, again, we really need to look very closely into the price.
Exactly.
If today you're getting Hudson, as per what we have mentioned earlier, the average pricing of 2,425-ish is something that you can really be looking into, because the Tanglin Regency example has clearly shown that with a 30% gap, it is something safe for you to enter.
Exactly.
But if it hits a certain amount, a certain percentage gap, and it reaches the higher of the per square foot price, which may essentially be very close to Dover pricing, then that's the point that you need to reconsider getting into Hudson. And you should actually be looking into Dover.
Exactly. So it's like a walk-away price. But if you wish to understand what is the walk-away price, right, you can contact any one of us. We can share with you a little bit more in details. So because by watching the video, sometimes we might not be able to share the full thing. But if you wish to understand a little bit more, which are price that we should walk away or really consider Dover instead, then you can contact any one of us. Okay, so next we will also want to understand, because developer bought 3 lands, right? Yeah. So with this, right, what are the benefits? Yes.
Does it benefit the owner? Does it benefit the buyer of Hudson Place?
When the developer monopolize the place. I think this is a very key important point also. Okay, so we will next use case study from Lentor.
Okay, so from here, we can see that those highlighted in yellow, right, are actually monopolized by the developer Guaco Land, Hong Leong, and
TID, right?
TID. So because they are under the same tree, so some of the developments are jointly bidded.
Yes.
Okay, so for those in yellow, the first one, right, we can see that is actually Lentor Modern. So Lentor Modern was bidded at 1,205 per square foot,
yes.
right? So at average here, 2,1. Okay, and then they had their second piece of
Lentor
land,
Hills,
all right, bidded about the same price, and then sold at 2,000 plus per square foot.
Yeah.
So, but what is important is to look at this.
These 2 plots are basically the last 2 plots that was being bidded by them.
So if you look at the price, right, the last 2 plot was bidded at a much lower per square foot price. So back to the same question.
But $200 difference compared to Lentor Modern.
Does the land bid price equate to the selling price?
Exactly.
So again, over here, it is not the case. Because of why? Because developer monopolize this area. They want to protect their price for the rest of the development.
Yep.
So you can see that even though the land was bidded at a much lower per square foot per plot ratio, but the average price, they didn't sell low.
Yeah.
The average price was even slightly higher than what was launched earlier.
Yes.
So this will give a buyer more assurance that today, no matter which plot of land that you're buying into, there's definitely a price protection.
Exactly.
Yeah. If let's say, for example, you are the first buyer coming into Lentor Modern, and even though the land bid at a higher price, it does not necessarily mean that you have already bought at a higher price. Because subsequently, lower land bid is also at similar or even higher purchase price.
Because these are the benefits that when developer monopolize the area, they also want to have a reputation in that area also. Yeah, they want to keep up to that. Imagine if I am a buyer that buys into any of the earlier plots, and then later it was bidded like lower, and then I sell lower, those other buyers will be very, very upset.
They will be upset, correct?
Yes. So actually this brings us to a very good point that even if you buy into this area, Bloomsbury being in the vicinity, Dover coming into the picture, and then we have Hudson Place, the most important thing is that because it's all by the same developer, there will be a price protection by the developer itself.
So rest assured, your your price will be protected.
Yes.
Whichever developments in the area that you have purchased, you're going to look into.
So we have come to the end of part 1. So if you have any questions on like what is the walkaway price, Dover, what is it going to be launched at, you can contact any one of us. Okay, but do stay tuned for our part 2.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.